All right, just finishing up a good week of practice. Got some good red zone work today, a little 2-minute work. So there's some good energy out there at practice. Feel like we're making the right steps in preparation for the season opener. Just injury wise, we had Matt Adams with an ankle yesterday, and then Costanzo with an oblique. I think both of those guys should be good, but we got to see how they settle down in the next couple of days, and we'll be able to make a better determination of that next week. Uh, Tough week, right? I mean, we've had a great week of practice, but we also come to the end of the week and know we have to make roster cuts. And, with as talented as a roster as we have right here, that's difficult to do, makes the job tough. A lot of these players will end up back here with the 16-man practice squad, and I think many of them will end up somewhere. So feel really good about the development of our roster. I do feel like we've had enough time to sort through, who's going to earn a spot on this team, and we're especially excited, right, for the season opener next week against Jacksonville on the road, division opponent. So that'll be a great test and a great start to the season.
All right, let's start with Andrew Walker.
Hey, Coach. I know we're kind of in that in-between week where you don't really have injury reports, but I was just wondering about Parris Campbell, obviously out of the red jersey a couple of days now. That's got to be encouraging. Any update on his status?
Yeah, he's in good shape, through the protocol, full go.
All right, Joel Erickson.
Frank, with injured reserve being different this year and guys being able to come off quicker, how much is that, I guess, something you have to kind of wrap your head around and change? Because IR used to be such a big deal, and it's not quite the same this year.
Yeah, it's a huge. You're exactly right, Joel. It's a huge deal, and it's a huge deal. So that's just the pieces of the puzzle that get moved around that we have to stay on top of. Obviously we know Chris does a phenomenal job of that. Him and his staff. It's something that he and I are talking about all the time as far as the depth at each position. How we feel. What's the makeup of the roster as far as numbers at each position. Those are all really important decisions. And then, how you roll them off and roll them on, right? I know Chris is on top of that in every angle, and just think we'll handle that very well.
Jim Aiello.
Frank, I know this is going to sound like trying to get hints at who is going to make the team, but I just was curious if you could talk about the depth on the offensive line, some of the guys that you've liked and what you've seen, some guys maybe emerge as behind your starting five.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Honestly, you go through camp and everybody's showing good glimpses. And I'm saying that there's been a high spot for all of them. There's high spots for all of them. We feel like that's a really important position for us. I think we do a good job of evaluating the guys to bring in here. So it's been a very competitive battle, tough decisions right there. But those decisions are very important, because we can't take anything for granted. Those 5 guys we got starting up front, we know they stayed healthy all year last year, but we got to continue to build the depth, and O-line depth is really important to that. And I feel good about where we're at there. These guys have worked hard and really developed quite well.
Kevin Bowen.
Hey, Frank, do you expect Trey Burton to miss a little bit of time into the regular season, or what's the latest on the calf?
Probably expecting to miss a little time going into the season. It's hard to really get a firm gauge, but I think he'll miss the first couple of weeks for sure.
Stephen Holder.
Hey, Frank. I know you were in San Diego for a little bit and maybe got a taste of what Philip meant to that community. He's in a new place now. So I guess 2 questions in one would be, what's your recollection, or just what sense did you get of what Philip meant in that community? And he's an icon there, obviously. And that remains true, even though the team left, he left. And then how have you seen him sort of transition and sort of embrace a new place?
Yeah, it's easy for Philip to make that transition, not only here in the locker room and on the field with the guys, but really in the community. As we all know, Philip is a, family valued man with them in the Midwest right here. moved in and just really loves the spot that he's at, embracing the new neighborhood and the community. I know just from talking to him, his children have made a really good transition here to Indy. There's certainly been a lot of great hospitality by the people here to really embrace him and his 9 children, right? That's a lot of embracing. So I think they're doing well. And, Philip's the kind of guy who's always, he's a giver. He's going to give, he's a family man. He's going to give to his family, but he's really going to make an impact in the community. So we're very fortunate, not only what he'll do here on the field, but the kind of man that he is as far as, giving back to the Indianapolis community. I'm looking forward for Colts fans to get to know him in that regard as well.
Okay, we'll go 3 more. Mike Chappell.
Frank, on the IR, there's so many different rules and changes and all that. Do I understand it's 3 weeks and unlimited players come off of IR during the season?
Yeah, I believe that's the rule, Chap. I do believe that's the rule. And the whole goal of the rule with everything, all the considerations is, maximum flexibility. And I really think the league has done a great job there of understanding the unique dynamics that we have. And, don't try to put teams in precarious situations. Allow us, with no off season, with limited training camp, allow us the time, to keep the guys who have been here. And so, I take my hat off to the league for restructuring things and adapting, as necessary in a good way.
Yeah, one change to IR. If you put a guy on IR today, before 53, they're done.
That's correct.
That hasn't changed.
Yes, that hasn't changed. If they're going to go on IR, they have to, as you would say, take up a roster spot to start. They have to make the 53 first if you want to bring them back, like you're talking about.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Zach Kiefer.
Frank, you've been in this league a long time as a player and as a coach, and I'm curious as to your thoughts when a guy sees the team draft a player at his exact position, a young guy. How do players respond to that? And then secondly, why hasn't Marlon Mack been – it seems like he's handled this so well. Why hasn't he been threatened or worried about the team bringing in a stud at running back, Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, it's just confidence. It's a lot of self-confidence and self-belief by Marlon. And you guys may remember when we drafted Jonathan, I think I remember saying, I had a text exchange with Marlon, right away, just understanding, as you're saying, that dynamic. Okay, we got a great running back in Marlon, and we just drafted Jonathan Taylor. Just wanted to let Marlon know, what we continue to think of him. And all he's talking about is the team, and he's getting ready to go. That's the kind of player and the kind of man he is. But that's also just the kind of confidence that he has in himself. And so we've said that from the start with Marlon. I mean, we're very fortunate to have him, and he looks really good right now. And but I think having that duo, I think we all know it's going to help our team.
All right, last question, George Bremer.
Coach, with Danny Pinner, it looks like he's played a lot of different spots already for you out there on the line. How difficult and unique is that for a rookie, especially with all the challenges there have been this offseason?
It's hard, but I give Danny a lot of credit. He's adapted very well. He's got great football IQ to be able to do that. But ideally, you don't have to do that to a guy. Ideally, you want to stick a rookie at one spot and let him learn one spot and get good at one spot, and then gradually phase in a second position, and then so on and so forth. But, just for a variety of reasons, we've put him under the gun, and he's just responded to that. He looks really good at center, has the football IQ to play that position with what we demand from our center. He's athletic, so he can do all the things that we need the center to do, and at guard, he's strong enough and stout enough to take on those big defensive tackles, and then we played him some at, tight end, when we go big, when we put an extra lineman at tight end. So, and we know he's played tackle. So in a pinch, he could always do that as well. He's a very talented guy, very smart guy, great teammate, really, really great draft pick. Very glad he's here.